you? A couple minutes early, as per usual, but I'm excited to talk about how to get started. I think that's a question that I hear all the time, and I thought it was appropriate to bring it to the streets, aka Facebook live stream. So we will begin shortly. How is everyone's, what are we up to? Thursday? Yep, Thursday. How's everyone's Thursday doing? I hope everyone's having a really good and blessed day. I would say for me, it's been so far busy, but busy's good, right? As long as it's the good kind of busy. So that's always really exciting. What else can we talk about before we get officially started? Things to do this weekend. So, for me, I would say I'm looking forward to some family time. I think that's going to be really fun. My cousin and friends and stuff like that. So that's going to be good. I'm definitely looking for a little bit of sleep, but I don't know if that's going to be too much of an option. I definitely have a couple of busy things to do. And then I'm also going to be doing some stuff with 90.3 WHBC. I think we're representing at an event on Sunday. So looking forward to that. Stay tuned for facebook.com/DR8Fashion. I'll share some stuff there, share stuff on the Dressing Room Made Instagram. So stay tuned. What else? 1 minute too. Okay. Anyone in the Northeast not looking forward to the this supposed storm that we're going to be having, right? So that doesn't look fun. Anywhere, if you are somewhere warm, please share, and so that I can think kindly of what it would be like to not be in the New York area. When I eventually move, I guarantee I will not be missing New York snow or New York rain or any of that nonsense. But you know, what you gonna do? I'm here now, so we've got to enjoy the most of it. And it actually has been an interesting winter in the sense that we've had some warmer days, and I think than what our meteorologists were expecting. So that's always fun, right? Ding, ding, ding. It's 12 o'clock. At least it's 12 o'clock on my clock. So I'm going to start. For anyone who doesn't know, hey there, my name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the owner and co-founder of Dressing Room Mate. I do a lot. I am a consultant, I'm a coach, I'm a blogger, I'm an adjunct professor, lawyer by trade, and today what brings you and me together in this moment is the fact that I want to talk about some of the things that I really talk about while I'm either coaching or consulting. And the basis of any really good venture is really figuring out, how do I get started, right? What do we want to do in this life? I think if you think about the limited time that we have on this planet, it's really important to have purpose and to really define what that purpose is for you. Everyone has their own distinctive path for themselves, and we're the masters and the creators of that. And so we need to be very, very mindful and very conscientious about the type of life that we're living. And so how do I get started? Now, whether we're talking about a business, right, a business venture, or maybe you want to learn a new skill or trade or hobby or passion, any of those things, they all begin with that same question of, how do I get started? And so I have jotted some things down to talk about in my trusty journal by Faith Costa. She is an incredible, beautiful model, mental health advocate, body positive advocate. You see her everywhere, Plus model, Huffington Post, Fabu Plus, she's everywhere. So thank you, Faith, again for my beautiful journal that I have. I've used these in my Dear Journal entries that I've shared with you guys. And you can get this journal actually from her Society 6 page. So if you go to faithcosta.com, you'll be able to have access to that, as well as see her art stuff on Art Sugar, and she's just really dope. So check her out. That's my shout out to you, Faith, for the day. So a number one thing is intention. What do you want? So for me, to share a little bit about my story, growing up, I always wanted to be a vet. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was obsessed with animals. I was obsessed with wanting to play with them and spend time with animals. But when I had the opportunity to go to Penn State, I realized that it really wasn't going to be in the cards for me. I wasn't interested in cutting open animals. I wasn't interested in really caring to or for sick animals. I really just wanted to literally cuddle and play with them. So that's a difference, right? And so I had to figure out, okay, so my intention is switching. So now what? And with that, I started taking some law classes, started taking business classes, and I loved it. I thought, wow, this is really informative. This can help me no matter what I'm doing. So I decided that I was going to go to law school, and I got into New York Law School. Hey, New York Law School. And I was really excited to experience that. It was definitely challenging, probably one of the most academically challenging things that I've done, but it was totally worth it. And timing is everything in life. We're going to talk about that as well. But actually, when I started, that's when we had the financial crisis hit us hard in this country. And in the New York area, thanks for the hearts, in the New York area, we had we have a lot of attorneys here. We have a lot of people pursuing the legal careers here. So it wasn't super easy to kind of get into the arena I wanted to. So I had to figure out, okay, well, what's my intention if I become a non-traditional lawyer? What does that look like for me? And so I got into education and sales, and then that twisty, windy road eventually led me down to being an entrepreneur. And that's something that I definitely had in the back of my mind. I was always thinking about inventions or thinking about things that I wanted to do. So it was wonderful to actually be in that space and do it. And for everyone listening, feel free to comment. I want this to be a conversation as well. I can talk forever, but thanks for the likes. But yeah, I love every like, every heart, every share. So feel free to share a little bit, and let's have this as engaging as possible every month that we do this. And from there, I was able to say, okay, so I'm going to do entrepreneurship. So again, intention. What was my intention? I wanted to start a business that was about women empowerment and young women empowerment, because what young girls become ladies, right? So if we're empowering older women, we, definitely need to focus on what our young girls are doing. So I'm able to consult and coach women in various industries. I would say primarily for Dressing Room Mate, we work with women creatives and women entrepreneurs in like the startup or mid-sized stage. And it's great. I do everything from social media to event production to business strategy, business development, things like that. And it's been a wild journey. We officially started in 2015, and it's been a wild ride, and I love it. And this year is busier than ever, but I think that it's a really good year to see various projects, see where they go. And so you'll see some of my work with like Long Island Girl Talk, do a little bit of shout outs for people. I'll do work with Sisters on Fire, Women on the Rise, 5th Annual Expo, Forum and Expo. Look out for that. I'll be speaking, not only that, but also a part of helping it come to be. And that's happening October 19th and 20th. So there's a lot in the works right now. And I'm also, I'm just really excited that I was able to figure out what my intention was. And so just to recap, if we're thinking about how to get started, first step is intention. So that intention was women empowerment, young girl empowerment, right? And then figuring out, what does that mean? What are the tools that I wanted to use for that intention? And social media, coaching, consulting. Those are kind of the vehicles for me to be able to effectuate that. Okay, so everyone get it? Intention. Next step, we have to plan. So I'm kind of old school. I shared with you guys my Faith Costa journal. I'm all about the handwriting. I know some people, like my husband from Woke and Free, our podcast, he's all about the digital, and he's like, Natasha, stop buying paper. Natasha, stop buying, But you listen, like you have to figure out, you can't let anyone tell you how you work, right? So at the end of the day, as much as he can spout about it, he knows pen and paper. I'm the girl. We're going to plan. I'll put it in an electronic form for sure, but I definitely like to start the brain power sessions and kind of masterminding, thinking it all with some pen and paper. So what are the dreams? We set the intention. So now what does that practically mean, right? So we can give examples, or I can give examples rather. Say you want to start a business. Okay, so you've now figured, okay, entrepreneurship, you have to decide, is this full-time or part-time? And then we get out of those quadrants once you've answered that question. And then it's, well, what, right? There's a lot of business that one can start. You can get into fashion. You can get into social media consulting. Is it a product? Is it a service, right? Figuring out all of that and everything in between. And so once you kind of write down, whether it's on pen and paper or on the computer, tablet or whatever, you figure out what does that practically mean for you, and then also that takes us to timing. That's our third step. So when is this happening, right? People can have goals, and you can have goals that are happening tomorrow, today, next week, next month, next year, right? When are we doing this? So I think that that's also important to be thinking about the timing of everything. Thank you for the like. Yes, I see you guys. And so timing is something that you want to think short term, and then you also want to think long term, right? So I'll give you my example for a dressing roommate. When I was thinking about launching, right, I first started as just the blog, right, and just getting content, being a content creator and getting the content out there before I decided to go forward and pitch and consult and all, grow from there. But we first started with just the blog, right? How frequently did I want to share content? How frequently was I going to be putting out my concepts, my vision for things, and how I feel about things? So timing, when do you want to start this? So for you, if you say are starting a business, and maybe it's a part-time hustle, right? So maybe it's you're kind of dabbling and you're trying to figure out where you're going to fit in everything, right? So say, a lot of people like to do that, they sell like lipstick, or they're an ambassador, or, things like that. So when is this happening? Are you willing to commit 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, right? We all have 24 hours a day. So we can be as effective or not effective as we want within those 24 hours, but that is totally within our purview and how we use our time. So timing, how are we spacing out things? And then on a kind of a daily operational basis, but then also what are your intentions for X, passion, business? Say you want to learn how to sew, right? Or you want to learn how to crochet. When do you want to officially learn to do this, right? Is this something in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months? And then how are you going to give yourself a measure of success? Is it going to say it's crocheting? You're going to crochet a blanket or something, like figuring out when the timing is, and then what are going to be kind of the benchmarks for you when it comes to being hitting those benchmarks and achieving victory along the way. All right, so just to recap for anyone joining, we started with intention, right? What do I want to do? What is the vision, right? And that's totally up to you. Can't expect anyone else to give you your vision. Second, let's plan, right? Let's pen and paper, guys. I'm always advocating for it. Sorry, I do love the trees, but you can use like recycled paper. Like, doesn't have to be all fresh paper. And then we're at timing, right? And figuring out, okay, timing wise, what does this mean? Then step 4. Who has heard of the phrase, your net worth is your network? If you have heard of that, give me a like, give me a yes comments, okay? For me, I always understood what that statement was. Getting into business, becoming an entrepreneur, that statement is like gold to me now. It's like probably one of the most vital things that I know and practice and preach, because you can be the best at a lot of different things, but as you see in this world, it's not always about being the best at something. It's about being the most pervasive, right? It's about being out there the most. It's about who you know. It's a lot of that's going on for people taking their lives, their businesses to the next level. So when people say your net worth is your net worth, it is not a game. Like, that is not something to joke around with. Who you know is going to be not only a reflection of you and how people interpret you and your kind of posse, right? But also it's going to open up the doors. Sometimes you will have people offering opportunities to you based on someone else's recommendation of you. So that's really dope. That's really cool. And that can be vital for you to get from point A to point B. So when I'm saying your net worth is your network, we're not just saying this and we're thinking, oh, that's true. Okay, cool. No, right? So you have an intention to start something, start a business, start a passion, start a hobby, start X, you fill in the blank, right? So then your net worth is your network. That means who you know is going to play a role in this process of how do I get started. And that's important because you want to go through your internal Rolodex. And I tell this to my clients all the time, go through your Rolodex. Who do you know? People have some really incredible contacts in their network. Hey, thank you, LaTanya. And they have some really incredible network, like people in their network, and they never think to ask them, hey, girl, sister, help me out. Come to an event. I'm selling a book, da, 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 right? Like whatever the intention is that you're fulfilling, you have people in your network, in your universe that can be a part of this journey. And you know what's a phrase that I would love for everyone in 2018 to stop saying? Oh, I don't want to bother them. Listen. Listen. Thank you. LaTanya is too funny. Anyone give LaTanya some likes and shares? That's too funny. It's about the fact that you live a life, you're not bothering anyone. I need everyone in 2018 to stop saying this. Your life is just as valuable and just as worthy as anyone else on this planet. I told you that, and if anyone tries to contest you, send them my way. Like, enough with that. It's never a bother. You're a valid human being. If you want to talk to your friends and family about what you're working on, go ahead and do it. Now, can you control the actions of other people? No. What's a principle in life that we can't forget? We control our actions. Thank you. I'm here for you, LaTanya. We control our actions. We control our thoughts. We control our feelings. We control what we do, but we cannot control what other people say. We cannot control what other people do. We cannot even control how other people feel. Why? Because it's literally like another human body, right? So you got yours. Let's focus on us and what we have to work with, right? That's all I can do. I can't force anyone to do anything, but I know I can force myself to do something. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to be willing to go through our internal Rolodex. And guys, I'm talking your phone book, your contacts in your phone book. I'm talking people on LinkedIn. Y'all have the LinkedIn game. Yep. Oh, thank you. I love it. You're so sweet, LaTanya. If you're not on LinkedIn, go to dressingroommate.com and understand why you need to be on LinkedIn. I wrote about that, so we can definitely talk about that as well. Everyone on Facebook, everyone on Instagram, anyone on Twitter, everyone on Snapchat, the list goes on and on and on and on. Pinterest, right? Everywhere. And you've got to share your content which is technically another point I'm going to get to later, but it's important for you to think net worth, network. Okay, that's not just a pretty phrase. This is reality. It is vital for your business. It is vital for you to move forward with certain goals and dreams that you have. You've got to involve your network, okay? Then next, we've got to put our plan into action. So we started, for anyone who's joining late, we started with intention, right? How do I get started with X? It's up to you to fill in the X. No one else can do that for you. Second, we then moved to our planning, right? What are we doing, right? It's fun to be a dreamer, but dreams don't happen unless we put in some work, right? We've got to work. So what are we working on? What are we working towards? Then we've got to think about our timing. Yep. Exactly. Plan of action. Yep, exactly. Just like how people would put together a business plan, you've got to have a business plan for your life. Like as people work, work, work. Exactly. Rihanna had it right. That's why I love that song. I hear that. I'm like, yes, honey, I'm working. Like, Lord knows I'm working. Work, 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 right? So we've got to work, 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 work on us, on what we want, which is, there's nothing more important or more valuable than that. We only have one life, right? Exactly. Dreams don't come true, LaTanya says, until you work the plan, right? So you've got to be willing to work it. Then the next step is going through our network. Our net worth is our network. Who are people in your network that can help you go from point A to point B? And guess what, guys? Just before we move away from that point, just because you don't know them and you feel like they're a vital part of your plan, doesn't mean what? That you can't involve them. You've got to be willing to go on Facebook, right? Yeah, exactly. And you've got to share your story. I know that sometimes it can be a little daunting for some people. Obviously, I'm an extrovert. Obviously, I'm a peacock. But you listen, there is the introverted entrepreneur. There are people, whether you're extroverted or introverted, you can get your hustle game on. You can do what you need to do in life, but you've got to figure out what your intention is and what you're willing to do for it. So and if you want to talk about that more, please comment. And yep, thank you, LaTanya. And share your thoughts on this, because I'd love to thank you. I'd love to talk about that even further, because I'm definitely coming from the perspective of extrovert, right? But I know that for some people they need they want to talk a little bit more about how do you do it when, okay, all right, well, I'll schedule that in the plan then. Let's talk about how to do this from the introverted perspective, right? What are things that we can do even if you're not necessarily comfortable live streaming yet, right? How do we work that into the plan? So there's that, right? Okay, so then now we are putting our plan into action, which is act, act, act. So if you've given yourself, so I obviously as an entrepreneur, I like to think business, but again, this is a conversation that applies to business, hobbies, everything. Put your plan into action, meaning if you said you were going to become a published author, right, and you gave yourself the deadline of a year from now, then we say we're doing this from February, so between February or March, March, from March 1st 2018 to March 1st 2019, what are we going to be doing for the month of March? What are we doing for the month of April? What are we doing for the month of May, June, July? Like literally plan it out. Like, and I know that can be like, what? Like, listen, you've got to, for you to actualize your dreams, you've got to actually put a plan in place, and not just a big plan like I will be published, but like, what will I do month to month? And then guess what, guys? We go a little bit deeper. We go week to week. And then guess what? We go day to day, like literally. That's why when I say the 24 hours we all have, super important. It's not just for our famous people that we see posting and sharing what they're doing to get their hustle on, right? Rise and grind. Shout out to Damon John. Yeah, exactly. Want to publish a book? What steps you have to take to make it a reality? Exactly. And LaTanya, she's having I believe a program about this. So if you're on here and you're like, ooh, I do want to write a book, maybe could network, right? She's in my network, so that welcomes her into your network. So think about that, guys. Okay, so planning, action, and moving it forward. Then the next thing I want everyone to think about, and I feel like I don't necessarily see enough of this, because some people aren't necessarily, that I see publicly, aren't super fans on like thinking about your failures. But I think that the Virgo in me would be remiss if I did not mention this. We've got to reflect. So on a day-to-day basis, it might be a little bit hard to always fully reflect on everything you're doing, but at a bare minimum, like give yourself like weekly reflection time, because I think it's important for us to not get so caught up in the weeds, right, that we don't see the forest ahead of us. So if we're sticking with the goal of being a published author, right, and we've started this week, right, so from this Wednesday to next Wednesday, and you've said, okay, well, I'm going to look up how many words do I need to write in a book? What is the structure of the book? Is there a certain type of program I should be writing this in? What if I want to handwrite the book, right? Figuring out kind of what the process, that daily operational plan will be for yourself, and then going forward, then we've got to, at the end of the week, look at ourselves in the mirror, right? And be real with ourselves. Like, this is a real talk conversation. And it's because I want you to have real talk conversations with yourself, that we've got to sit down with self and really have that moment to make sure you're prioritizing me time, but then also, how did we do? Did we like what we did? Did we not like what we did? What were things we pushed back? What are we procrastinating on? Right? Really focusing on that reflection. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Latanya. Yep. Everyone tuning in, you can check out what she's offering for her upcoming workshop. Yep, absolutely. So, we want to really reflect, time to reflect, and it's not to harp on the things that didn't go well, right? So maybe we sent an accidental email, maybe we forgot, we had a grammatical error on, on maybe something you sent out to a press or something. Okay, things happen. We always want to strive for betterness. So you go back and you look and give an assessment of things, and you don't harp on the negative that happened, right? We don't need to bully ourselves. I think we get enough of that from the world. The goal is to really be focusing on the overall picture and celebrate every victory and recognize every hiccup, and then see how we could have pivoted, how we can do that differently. I think that that's kind of the mindset we want to take when it comes to that. Not people get really down on themselves about, I messed up. Guess what? Everyone's messing up. I'm messing up. Everyone's messing up. Get over it, right? Like, yes, exactly. We learn, we pivot, and we keep it moving. And I think that that's really key. So I want reflection time, and we are coming down shortly in a couple of minutes before the end of this, but I'm thank you, Latanya, for all your contributions. I love it, guys. If you're liking her thoughts, please give likes and hearts and all that good stuff. So then we've reflected, and then also what I want you guys to think about in this process, and it's an 8-step process, which is thank you. Yep. The next step is to inspire, right? Who has heard the phrase, you have to be if you be the change you want to see in this world, right? So every time, for me, I will share, every time I'm doing something, I'm thinking about that young girl who also might have wanted to be a vet, who now maybe is doing something different, or that young girl who wanted to learn more about her Black identity, wanted to learn more about how to be more body confident, wanted to get over bullying, like whatever our challenge, fill in the blanks, right? Because we all have them. Nobody's out here sitting here being perfect. Nobody has a perfect life. Get that out of your head real quick. But how are we making sure that the people coming after us are going to be able to see our journey and learn and be able to make that journey even bigger and better for themselves, right? Exactly. Latanya says, inspire other people will be picking up or following some of your breadcrumbs. Exactly. I think just last night I was at an event, and one of the speakers was saying that the greatest leaders are the leaders who are not afraid of someone coming and doing bigger and better things than them. Oh, thank you. Exactly. And so you really want to make sure that we're leading the path. Absolutely. We're leading the path for others to come and do bigger and better, right? So whatever things that we're doing, kind of like Latanya was saying, like breadcrumbs, right? What we're leading is kind of a path, and other people are going to walk down this path. So what is the bigger global impact that you're going to have on the things that you're doing with your business, with your hobby, with your passion project, with your community work, with your advocacy work, right? Fill in the blank. It's your intention. And that, I think, is going to help you be grounded and help you stay focused so that you can continue to do what you're doing. Exactly. Thank you, Latanya. Yep. She's good, guys. Check her out. She does these types of live streams as well. I've listened in, and she's also like super funny. So you should totally consider a career in comedy as well. FYI, because you have me laughing. Then next, after we've inspired the world, right? We can't forget to document this experience, right? Why am I live streaming? I want to engage with you guys. I want you to be a part of this process, but it's a documentation of what I'm doing. I'm telling you my story, why I'm doing what I'm doing, why it's important to me. And then I'm trying to help you understand why you've got to figure out what your intention is, what your plan is, what the timing is for that, how you're going to put it into action, how you're going to use your resources, right? How you're going to be the best version of you in this life, because that's what we all need to be striving for. Otherwise, what's the point, right? We're not just here to, read magazines and like eat delicious popcorn, right? Like we've got to have purpose, and that purpose interconnects. We're all connected, right? So I think that's a part of this. We've got to document. So and everyone has their own platforms that they like. For me, I'm hardcore Facebook, so you'll always see me on Facebook. Fan of Instagram, fan of Twitter. Not so much on the Snapchat, but again, if you want to convince me to get on there and snap with you, let's have that conversation. So document your experience, bring the world along for what you're doing. Well, this is a webinar, right? I am a professor, I do teach, but this, again, you don't have to only teach in one type of format. We can teach in all different formats. And some of the things I love about a live stream is we can capture everyone, and they just come on here and, learn, talk, converse with each other, and we all keep it moving, right? But yes, I will keep everyone posted of additional educational content that I put out. Thank you, LaTanya. And so once we're documenting what? That is the last step. So just to rehash, intention, right? Then second, we have to plan and have strategy. Third, timing is everything. Fourth, your net worth is your network. Then 5, put your plan into action. We've got to act. As LaTanya said, work. We've got to work. And then we've got to reflect so that we know how we can pivot, how we can celebrate the victories as well as move forward. Yep. And then we've got to be the change we want to see in this world. We've got to inspire other people. Yep, exactly, LaTanya. And then last step, we've got to document. We can't be afraid to share the work that we're doing in this world, because the classic phrase is, thank you. The classic phrase is, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, does it make a noise? Right? If you're doing great work and you're afraid to share it with the world, shame on you. No, listen, if you take anything away from today that we've talked about, we've got to document. We've got to get on here and share our stories, blog about it. We've got to share. Sharing is caring, and we always think about that from other perspective, but it's also you. Share your story. Share why you're dope. Share why you're amazing. Yes, right? And really be excited and be happy to do so and have the conversation, because I'm telling you, it's one of the most beautiful experiences, I would say, as being an extrovert, is my ability to share my story and then hear from other people and have a conversation. Because when you share, you grow, because people will comment and share. And will everything coming your way be positive? No, because we can't control. Yes, exactly. We can't control what the world does, but we can control what we're doing. And so for people who will give you those positive affirmations, it will feel glorious. It will feel amazing. It is the prosperity we all deserve. So I hope everyone enjoyed. I think we're at our time. Yep, we're at the time of, how did I get started? This is going to be one of many different types of talks that I do with you guys. Please, I greatly appreciate every like, every heart, every share, every comment. Thank you, LaTanya, for being super engaged with me. I think that this first one was awesome. And if you guys have comments about things you specifically want me to touch on, hit me up. Go to facebook.com/dr8fashion. You can always email me, natasha@dressingroom8.com. And of course, website, dressingroom8.com. I'm always here. I'm always socially active. Thank you, LaTanya. I do a lot of things, but no matter what, I always have time to hear from you guys, and for thank you so much. And from hearing how I can be of assistance to you. How can I make your journey in entrepreneurship, your journey in being more conscious and happy about your life as easy as possible? Because that's why I started this. This is why I'm here. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for every like, every comment, every share. Greatly appreciated. You guys have dressingroom8.com. Yep. And just, have a blessed and amazing day. And go to facebook.com/dr8fashion to see all the other upcoming web live streams that I'm going to be doing, as well as other events I'm a part of. Okay. And for everyone who tunes in later, feel free to watch this and comment. And I'll still look for all the old comments and stuff like that. And let's keep this conversation going. Okay. How to get started and just like slay. All right. Have a good day, guys.